My mom married again, but this time she chose someone who only cares about himself. "Why are you doing this to me? Your own mother," my mom yelled over the phone. This was the first time she had reached out to me in 5 years. I, Brandon, just turned 21 last week, but to understand how I got here, I need to start from the beginning. My mom, Jane, who's 49, had me with my dad, Andrew, who passed away when I was just 4 years old. Since then, it was just me and my mom until I was 10. That's when she introduced me to Michael, who's 52, and his daughter Grace, who was 19 at the time. Michael is only involved with Grace on weekends, so he's not really a full-time dad to her. When I first met Michael, he seemed okay. He wasn't trying to replace my dad or anything, he was just friendly. He proposed to my mom, and she asked me how I felt about it. I said I was fine with it, which was a big mistake. After that, they started bringing his daughter Grace over, and I actually liked her. She was really nice, pretty, and we had fun playing video games together. When I was 11, Michael and my mom got married, and he moved into our house. When I was 13, my mom had my half-brother Justin, who's now 8 months old. That's when Michael started acting like he was in charge at home. He'd punish me for not doing chores, and even tried to take away my room and give it to Grace, but I refused, and Grace backed me up, saying she wouldn't take it. Michael would pick fights with me and then lie to my mom, telling her I was being disrespectful. My mom always believed him, so I was constantly grounded, and my life became really miserable. On my 14th birthday, I tried to take my own life. My mom sat by my hospital bed crying. But Michael's reaction was shocking. He told me he wished I had succeeded. After that, my dad's parents took me in and refused to let me go back to Michael's house. My grandma said something that seemed strange at the time: "You'll regret treating him so badly." Michael just laughed, thinking he had all the power, and told her to leave his house. My mom looked sad, but she didn't stand up for me. My grandma was about to say something else, but my mom cut her off. She had said, "This isn't even his house," and was going to continue, but my mom stopped her. A year later, I went back for Christmas, and Michael was unbearable. My mom didn't seem to care. They showered Grace and Justin with gifts, while I got a book token and a card. Grace was furious, calling my mom and Michael assholes and saying they should be ashamed of themselves. On my 16th birthday, my mom didn't even call me. Instead, Michael sent me a message telling me to never contact them again. He said I wasn't welcome in my own home and that my mom didn't want to see me ever again. I was devastated. I cried myself to sleep for a week. But throughout that time, my grandma kept reassuring me, "Don't worry." On my birthday, I got a message from Grace wishing me a happy birthday. She also said something that made me feel a little better. She knew her dad was a jerk, and she couldn't wait to cut ties with him too. I focused all my energy on school and ended up graduating as valedictorian. I even got a scholarship to MIT. When I started looking for jobs to help with expenses, my grandma surprised me by telling me I had a trust fund set up for college. My dad had been a successful businessman and had left behind a significant amount of wealth. He had made my grandma the trustee of his estate and my college fund. I've been working hard in college, and I'm about to start my final year of studying engineering. I've also got a girlfriend named Sarah, and we're having a great time together. It's casual, but fun. Last week was my 21st birthday, and I celebrated with my college friends before heading to my grandma's house to spend time with my dad's side of the family. At the family gathering, my Aunt Ruth asked me what I planned to do with the house. I was confused, and that's when Uncle Roger dropped a bombshell: the house my mom and Michael are living in actually belongs to me. Everything in it, too. Since my parents never got married, my dad's entire estate was left to me, with my grandma as the trustee until I turned 21. And here's the kicker: Uncle Roger has been running the family business on my behalf. That means Michael, the man who made my life miserable, is essentially one of my employees. I'll receive a stipend from the trust until I'm 30, at which point I'll gain full control of the trust. I asked Uncle Roger if he'd be willing to continue running the business, and he agreed without hesitation. I also discovered that I had inherited my father's entire real estate portfolio, which means I own almost every house connected to my family, including the one my mom and Michael are living in. On Monday morning, I met with an attorney to discuss my options. After considering everything, I decided to take action. I would evict my mom and Michael from my property. So my attorney sent them a 30-day notice to vacate the premises. That's what led to my mom's frantic phone call this morning. My mom was furious, berating me for being a horrible son and asking how I could do this to my own family, especially my brother. She kept saying I should just keep the peace and let go of the grudge. But after she finished her rant, I calmly reminded her that I hadn't seen or heard from her in 6 years. I was angry, but I kept my cool as I said it. I reminded her that she had chosen Michael over her own son, allowing him to treat me poorly for years, even though she knew I was the rightful owner of the home. Yet, she and Michael had still pushed me out. After saying my piece, I hung up on her and considered blocking her number. Now, I'm left wondering if I'm doing the right thing by evicting them. The doubts are creeping in.
Story 2.
Someone I care about deeply is considering doing something that puts their life at risk. I'm hoping he doesn't see this. If you do, please know that I'm just trying to find ways to deal with this situation or get help. My best friend, M25, whom I 24F love dearly, has had a life filled with unimaginable struggles. If his story were a film, I doubt anyone could watch it without shedding tears. I don't want to share too much about his life, but living in the Balkans puts him in danger due to certain threats. He's the sole breadwinner for his family of 6, ensuring they have a comfortable life. Despite struggling financially himself, he lives paycheck to paycheck, and even his family constantly pressures him. It's heartbreaking how they treat him. He's been working since he was a child, and nothing seems to go his way. He's dealing with legal issues, which is costly, and his own father is sabotaging his efforts to get what's rightfully his and his family's. His biggest dream is to own a home for his family, but it seems impossible since he's barely scraping by. He has a heart of gold, works tirelessly, and has made countless sacrifices, yet his family offers no support. Instead, they constantly nag him, but he still wants to provide for them. The stress has taken a devastating toll on his health, causing his body to start failing him. Yesterday, he told me he wants to end our friendship because he feels guilty for involving me in his life and sharing his problems with me. He wants to push me away, thinking it's best for me. He also said it's best for me to move on because he thinks he'll be dead in a year or two. That broke my heart. He's lost the will to live and wants to take on dangerous jobs like welding, construction, or other high-risk work that could cost him his life. The most heartbreaking part is that he's exploring illegal ways to leave the country, which could lead to getting caught, imprisoned, lost at sea, or worse. But he feels his life is no longer worth living, so he's willing to risk everything to provide for his family or die trying. This has shattered me to my core. I haven't stopped crying since. He deserves a life filled with love, happiness, and hope, but instead, he's given up. He mentioned a 50/50 chance of survival, but he won't share his plans with me. The thought of living without him by my side is unbearable, and the possibility of losing him forever is too much to bear. He's from the Balkans and had to drop out of university in his 3rd year to start working. Unfortunately, his university no longer exists, so he can't go back to finish his studies. Despite his efforts, he hasn't been able to save any money because it all goes towards rent and food. Now, he feels like this dangerous path is his only hope. I'm desperate for help. Does anyone know of a safe way for my friend to move to another country? Getting a work permit is extremely difficult for us. Maybe someone knows of a reliable agency or organization that could assist him. Any guidance would be greatly appreciated.